Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy that you're here again. If you are new to this, make sure you try and subscribe if you like the content. And in today's video, this is what we're going to be creating today. We're going to be creating this cool trailer scene. We're actually going to be making use of one or two plugins, and I'm pretty sure you get to make use of those plugins you've installed for God knows how long. And of course, this is actually part one out of two parts of this particular tutorial. I didn't want to make it too long, and I actually want to dive in deep into those settings, into those tricks and techniques. That's what I'm going to make into parts. So in a few days, I'll be dropping the part two, so be on the lookout for that. All right, without wasting so much of your time, let's get to it. So we go to a new composition. I'll name this scene 01, and I'll make this 13 frames per second, 10 seconds long. It's okay. Make sure I fit the screen. And the very first thing I like to create is the background. So I'm going to right click, go to new, click on solid. I'll make this like a dark blue, something like this. This doesn't really matter actually. Click OK. I'll name this BG, which is my background, and I'll click OK. Then I'll go to my effects panel. So I can actually go to my effects panel, or I'll just use my FX console from Video Copilot. So I'll type in gradient. So I'll do 4 color gradients, and I have this color, so I have to change all these colors. So I'm going to be using the colors I prepared for this. After I've putting the colors, all I need to do is just adjust the color handles, so I can zoom out back a little bit and then just adjust this. So let me fit the screen. I think I like what I see, but then I would increase the jitter to about, let's say, 32%, so it will really blend well. So we are done with the background. Now I'll create another solid, new, and then name this element 3D, element 3D. So I can change the color to something else, maybe something like this. Click OK. Then I would click out, then create a text. Then I'll title this trailer. Click this, then make sure this is centralized. So I'm going to align to the center, then also align to the center like this. And of course, I'll have to increase the font. So I'll select the text, make sure I'm using the Gotham. Then I'll use light, and I'll increase this to about, let's say, 120. Make sure it's still aligned. Then of course, I'll also like the anchor point to be at the center just in case. But now I'm just going to be using the text for element 3D, right? So I'm just going to hide it here, go to my element 3D solid, and then I'll definitely apply the element 3D plugins to this. And as soon as I do that, I should have this here. So all I need to do is to go to custom layers, go to custom text, then click this and select trailer. So with this, you can actually have your text in element 3D plugin. So I will now click on scene setup. Then I have the user interface here, right? So this is the user interface here for element 3D. As soon as you click on scene setup, so all I need to do for me to get my text here is to click on extrude. And as soon as I do that, I have the text here. So I can actually pan around using my mouse, just click and then drag. I can actually pan around to see the text in different perspective. So I'm going to leave it like this. Right here, I can see where I have my extrusion model. I can see it's actually in a group. If I click this, I can see the material options for this. So what I would like to do is to change the material option for this. So I'll go to presets, then go to physical. I'm going to select chrome. So I'm going to click on the chrome preset material and then just add it. I can either add it here or just come here and then add it here, right? And as soon as I do that, I can see that it's looking quite different. The next thing I would like to do is to adjust some settings on this via the material. So I'll click on chrome, which is the material I'm using for this, and I'm going to come here. I would like to adjust the extrusion. So I'm going to use my middle mouse to zoom in, and then I'm going to come to the settings here. I'm going to reduce the extrusion to 0.08. Then reduce the bevel size to 0.47. So this bevel, you can see the settings as we are tweaking it here. I'll go to bevel depth to 1.08, the bevel segment to 16, bevel curve to -0.92, bevel offset to 0.03. With these settings, can you see that we have something really cool going on? So we're able to tweak the bevel settings there. That's why we have the sharp edge on the text. So that's not all. Now I'm going to come down to basic settings. First of all, I'll change the diffuse colors to white. Then change the diffuse to 0.56. Specular multiplier to 300%. Change the environment multiplier to 180%. So the next thing I like to do is to go to the refraction. I'll go to intensity, change it to 14%. And with this, I think we are good with the text. We might still come back and then tweak some settings, but with this we are good. So I'm just going to click OK. And as soon as we do that, this is what we are going to have. So the next thing I like to do is to create camera and light. So I'm going to come here, right click, go to new, create camera. So I'm going to come here and change this to 35mm and I'll click OK. So the next thing I want to do is to create light. So I'll right click, go to new, then do light. So I'm going to be making use of point light. Make sure it's white, 75%. Change the intensity to 75%. Change the follow from none to smooth, and every other thing is fine. I can call this the main light. Okay, and I'll click OK. So all I need to do is to reposition my light. So what I'd like to do is to change to 2 views. So I'll go to view, switch view layout to 2, and if I zoom out here, I have my top view, I have my active camera view. So this is my light, and at the center here is where I'll have my trailer text. So all I need to do is to position it. So I'll make sure I'm on my move tool, then move this closer to the light to this point like this, where I'm just targeting the arrow basically. So and I have something like this, so you can see light position here well. So let us switch back to one view. So I'm going to switch this back to one view. So I have this. So even with the light, you can see that it is not actually reflecting on the text. So all we need to do is to go back to element 3D, then go to render settings, then go to physical environment, and I'm going to change the light influence to 100%. As soon as I do that, you can see that this side get darker, and where we have the light is actually brighter. That's because the light is already taking effect. So if you increase the light influence to 100%, your light source on the text or on the 3D will now be from the light. So aside from that, I also like to go into the rotate environment. So this has to do with the HDR environment that you have in element 3D. So you can actually change the positioning or rotate the environment in here. So I'm just going to rotate the environment so I can have a really cool look from here. So I think I'm just going to rotate this a little. Let me first of all change my rendering settings here. So I'll take this from adaptive resolution to all final quality, so it still give me that pixelated look. But as soon as I drag this, can you see that the light is actually rotating? So I think I'll just do something like this, like 138% is good. So it's giving me this dark feel, and then I can see the reflection of my, let me zoom in a little bit, I can see the reflection of my light here, which is what I'm actually gunning for. Maybe I can select this light and just move it to the side a little bit. Go back to element 3D. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to also tweak this a little bit to see the best result that I can get. So I think this is fine. I'm liking this a lot. So I'm also going to change the Z rotation. So I'm going to change this to about, let me just keep tweaking it until I get the best results. I think about 280 is fine. So for now, I'm just going to leave this as this and then introduce more light into the scene, so I can close all of this up, and there will be need for me to come back here. I will definitely do that. So I'm just going to select this light, and then I'm going to duplicate it, right? So I have 2 lights here, and I'm just going to take this other one and move it to the side. Even as I'm moving the light, can you see that you can see the reflection thing going on there? So I'll just take the light somewhere here. So I can just drag this further down a little bit. So I have something like this. So I'm just going to click this, and then I'm going to duplicate this as well. I'm still going to check the light setting to see what works. So I'm just going to adjust this to the center like this, and I'm going to switch to two views, and I'm just going to take this a little bit closer to the light, to the text rather, and I'm going to open this up, go to the light option, and what I'll do is to increase the light intensity of this a lot. So I'm just going to bump it up. Let's see what we're going to get. Let's do about, let's say 345% intensity. So by zooming here, can you see what's going on here? It's actually as brightening up this part of the text. Let me just rename this to close lights, and I'll click this. I can call this fill lights. Okay, I'll come to the fill light, open this up, open the light option. I can reduce the intensity of this one to 40%. So I'm just going to reduce this to reduce the intensity of the light here. So it's a fill light, so it shouldn't be so bright. So I'm just going to close this up, close it up. So far so good. We have 3 lights in the scene, and then I'm going to select this, and I'm just going to do Ctrl D this close light, and what I'll do is to just drag this back. And the reason I'm dragging this back because of the animation I'm going to do, which you guys are going to see very soon. So I'm just trying to stagger the center like this and just drag this a little bit down, and I'm going to reduce the intensity of this. So I'm just going to open this up and then reduce the intensity of this to about 5%. So it's just going to be really subtle. You see why we are doing this in a bit. So let me just drag this back a little bit. So I'll call it the far lights. So let me close this up. Basically, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 lights in our scene, and that's what we are going to be using for now. So let me switch back to one view. So we have this. So let me fit to screen. We have this light setup thing going on, which is making this looking cool already. So the next thing I like to do is to create a simple animation where the text is coming right behind the camera and then it's just coming into the scene. So I'm going to select my element 3D. If I go to this effect here, I can open group 1. Remember, the text was actually in group 1, so I can open up the particle replicator, and then I can have access to the position here, so I can actually make it go up, down, left, right, then in z-axis, like something like this. But I won't mess with this here, so I'll just reset all of this. This is a smarter way of working with this, so it will be very easy to control. So what I'll do, I'll go to group utilities, then I'll open up create null and click on create null. So if I click on toggle switches and mode, you can see that this is now on 3D. So what I need to do, let me just drag this on top of this. Let me rename this to element control. So what I'll do, I'll go to the 2-second mark here. Then I'll come here, press P for position and set this. But then I'll take this back. So I'll just click on the Z axis and then just drag it back. So I'll hold down shift so I could go faster. I'll make it go a little bit. So let me just do minus 2800. So it's actually way behind. So let's see if you can even see it from the 2 viewports. Switch to 2 views. So if I zoom out, can you see where it is right now? Can you see where it is? It's way behind the camera, which is what I really want to achieve. So if I just scroll over this, can you see what's happening? So we have something like this coming into the light. So there's no light somewhere behind the camera. So by the time we bring this here, we have something really cool like this. So we have this now. So what I would like to do now is to go to my camera. I need to create null for my camera. So all I can do is right click on my camera, then go to the camera option here and say create orbit null. So if I do this, it automatically creates a null from camera. So I don't need to start parenting. That is done automatically. So what I'll do, I'll go to 3-second mark and then press P, because what I want to do, I also want the camera to zoom in. So let me zoom in a little bit here. I want the camera to go in as well and be zooming out, so they're all going to be revealing at the same time. So I'll set this here and then I'll take this back and then I'll just push this a little bit forward. So I'll just keep moving this a little bit. Let's start from somewhere here. So all I need to do, if I scroll over this, can you see what's happening? We have all of this. You see the reason why we animated the camera a little bit by the time we start creating the particles. So what I will do, I'll align this to, and then go to, and then right click do easy ease, and I'll go to graph editor and I'll align the two and I'll do something like this. So then I'll go back, and if I take this back and let me just switch to one view. So if I take this back and then play, this is what we're going to have. All right, guys, hope you really do enjoy that. Like I said, this is actually part one, so stay tuned for part two. I'm going to drop that in just a few days, and I'm pretty sure you've learned a lot even from this. So in the part two, we are going to know how we apply the particles, the smoke, and of course the flare, which is going to be, we are going to be using the optical flares for. And I'm pretty sure you're going to learn a lot. So make sure you stay tuned for part two. And don't forget, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay tuned for part two of this particular tutorial. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next part.